everyone, and welcome. I'm so happy to have you all here with me. I thank you for coming and being my audience today. As most of you know, my name is Kendra, and I have been cooking since I was little, helping my grand in the kitchen. I am very excited to be sharing with you today some of her favorite recipes and some of my favorite dishes. Before we begin, may I ask which dish you all are most excited to learn to make?
I'm most excited to make the brownies.
I think I'm actually most excited to make the brownies as well.
Yeah, I was actually interested in the Mississippi pot roast.
Good choice.
Very cool. What do you think your family will say when you make those dishes you're excited about for them?
I think my family will think it's a very fun looking dish.
I think next date night my wife's going to be pretty impressed.
I think everybody will just be shocked if I make anything. So.
As expressed by the majority of you, your family would be excited to eat a good home-cooked meal made by you. What is great for you all is that this session will eliminate a lot of your inner fears. What to make, what if your family doesn't like it, or what if you don't know how to cook it? Let me show you step by step how easy and delicious it can be to cook a full meal for any occasion. Let's go over today's objectives and what you will be able to take away from this session with me. You all will be able to duplicate and repeat these recipes for your family's needs and enjoyment. You will also gain a new skill set in Southern comfort cooking. At each of your stations, you will find a recipe card and notepad for taking notes during the training. I wanted to provide ingredients and tools for each station, but I didn't have enough crock pots to be able to have each of you practice with me here live. You will, however, be able to taste test the food that I create today once the session is over. Please take notes as we go and write down any questions you may have to ask me once the session is completed. So let's begin. The first dish we're going to be working on is the Mississippi pot roast. Before we get started or touch any of our tools, we always need to be sure to wash our hands for food safety. Now that we've washed our hands, let's get started. So right here I have a 2-pound chuck roast. So we're just going to cut it open. Perfect. The reason I did 2 pounds is this recipe is for 6 people. Even though my husband and I do not have a family of 6, we do like leftovers. I'm going to stick it in the crock pot. Just like that. This is one of my favorite recipes because it is the easiest. It is literally 5 ingredients, including your roast. So now that we have our roast in there, we are going to open those packets. So I have a 1-ounce packet of au jus. You can use brown gravy, but I just don't think it tastes as rich. So I look for the au jus. And literally, we are just going to sprinkle it all over the roast. Just like that. And I have a 1-ounce packet of this ranch dressing and salad mix. It doesn't matter if you do the dip or the dressing, they're interchangeable. So whichever one that you prefer to use. You're just gonna do the same thing, sprinkle it all on top of your roast. Put them over here. And is the fun part. Now I am not a spicy food person, but these pepperoni peppers, they're really not that spicy. You can adjust your spice level by adding more, adding less. We find the perfect amount is about 6 to 7. So that's what we're gonna use in this recipe. You just put them in whole, you don't even cut them. What's gonna happen is when the roast goes in, or when we start the crock pot, it's going to dry up these pepperoni peppers and create a glaze, like a sauce for it. And we'll pull them out once they've dried at the end of the cook time. I'm gonna put 2 right on top. So 6 and 7 are going right on top of the roast. Put our lid back on. And then a whole stick of butter goes right on top. This is a really rich dish. I would not recommend making this every night of the week. You can also reuse it, the roast, for sandwiches. We love making sandwiches for lunch, or you can eat it for dinner another night. So let this cook for 6 to 7 hours on high. Or you can do 8 to 10 on low. So I'm gonna do high. So I have set my crock pot. I'm gonna put the lid on it, and I will show you what to do with it once it's done. So now that we have our Mississippi pot roast going, I wanna show you our 2 favorite sides to go with it. So the first one is going to be these steamed green beans and these steamed potatoes. These are 2 easy sides. On your recipe cards, you're gonna see that I have 2 bags, which is great if you are going to do for a family of 6. I just have 1 bag. All I'm gonna do is follow the instructions on the bottom of my bag, and then I'm gonna show you how I edit them afterwards. Now that I have microwaved these according to the instructions on the bag, I am going to show you how I edit them the way that we like them. So I'm just going to cut along the top of the bag. And in here, these are the green beans. Oh, they smell so good. Okay, so in here, I am going to add the 2 ingredients that are mentioned on your recipe card. So we have 1 tablespoon of the minced garlic, or 1 clove, and 1 tablespoon of the teriyaki sauce. So I have that in this bowl right here. So I'm just going to give it a good mix. After I microwaved the green beans, I let them rest for about 2 to 3 minutes. And then I'm going to pour them in the bag while they're still warm. And you can use tongs or a spoon and stir or toss the green beans if you want to. I am just going to shake mine. So I'm going to re-roll up my bag and then just kind of shake that sauce all over it. I'm going to pour it in our serving dish. I'm just going to use these bowls, but if you have an actual serving dish, that works too. So there is that. Look at those beautiful green beans. They still have their texture and their color. You will impress a crowd with this. So the next side dish we're going to make is these potatoes. They've been resting while I was showing you how to do the green beans. We're going to do the same thing and cut the top of the bag off. Just like that. Now I like the red potatoes. They have the Yukon Gold potatoes, a couple other varieties, but these are just my favorite. Red potatoes are my favorite overall potatoes. So in this, I've already put it in the cup, but again, since we're only using 1 bag, I'm only going to do 1 tablespoon of this lemon pepper seasoning. I got this at Walmart, and then I am using garlic powder. On your recipe cards, you're going to see garlic salt. The only reason that I use garlic powder instead of garlic salt is because my butter is already salted. I have learned that if you use the garlic salt with the butter, it's just too salty and it's too much. So I would pick one or the other. So, garlic powder and salted butter is what I'm putting in here. And just a tablespoon of that. If you're using the 2-bag recipe, 2, 2, and 2. So, we have this all in here, as you can see. So I'm going to mix it up. Since the potatoes are hot, I'm not even going to melt the butter. Because once I dump this on here, it's just going to be coated completely. Just going to pour this in here. Kind of toss them around as well. Oh, that smells so good. Pour them into their serving bowl. Just like that. See all the garlic pieces? Yum. I'm going to sprinkle, there's some left in the bag, so I'm just going to pour it over the top and let that really marinate. But yeah, that is it for our 2 sides. There is your potatoes and your green beans. This next dish I'm going to show you how to make is our tomato tart. Now, for the purpose of this demonstration, I'm going to be using it as an appetizer, but you can make it for lunch or dinner, whichever your preference is. If you are going to make this as an entree for lunch or dinner, I would highly recommend either making multiple ones or adding a side salad to go with it. So, since we're just doing it as an appetizer, we have a sheet pan and our frozen pie crust. I'm going to do what they call blind bake it. Blind bake it just means that we are going to cook it fully with no filling, nothing in it. Just so it's golden brown, that way we can put our filling in it. So I have the frozen pie crust here. I've let it defrost for 15 minutes as directed on my package. And I have our oven preheated to 400 degrees. If you don't put little slits in it, it'll rise, and when it cools, it'll crack. And we don't want that to happen. We want it to be a sturdy pie crust. So I'm just going to put little notches in it on the sides of the pan. Every time I make any kind of pie, whether it's an appetizer, you know, tomato tart like this, dessert, whatever, I always think of my grandma because she would blind bake her pie, but she would put a bag of beans in it, like a pie or something like that. And so she put it in there. Even if she had slits in it, she thought those beans were going to make it so much better. So I'm just going to finish putting these little notches in the bottom of my pie dish so it has some room to breathe. So now that we've done that, I'm going to go ahead and pop it in the oven for 15 minutes because that's what my package directs, and then I'll be back to show you how to make our filling. Now that we have taken our pie crust out of the oven, you can see that it is golden brown. It's still a little warm to the touch, which is what we want. We're going to leave our oven on at the 400 degrees because once we fill it, then we're going to bake it. So let's work on our fillings. The bottom part of our filling. So I have my bottle here. We're going to take 1 tablespoon this Italian seasoning. This has basil, oregano, parsley, and thyme. That's 1 tablespoon. Then I'm going to do 1 tablespoon of our garlic. Just like that. It can be overflowing, that's fine. We like garlic, right? So put that in there. Okay. And then we're gonna do our olive oil. This is one of my favorite dishes. So simple, so easy. We got our olive oil. I have all of this here, so I'm just gonna give it a little stir. So it's good and incorporated, and it'll look something like that. So now I'm just going to pour it into our warm pizza, and as soon as it smells so good, doesn't it, y'all? It is so good in here. You can smell it as soon as it hits that warm crust. So we're just gonna keep pouring it. And you can make more or less. This is just the amount that I like for the tart. I don't want it too overpowering, especially since we're using some fresh ingredients today. So just get that good. Coat it on the bottom. That is what it should look like on the bottom. So now we're gonna do, I have on your recipe card 2 small tomatoes. These are very small tomatoes. One of my friends has grown a garden, and so she let me use some of her fresh ingredients for our demonstration today. So I have these tomatoes. I've already washed them. So I'm gonna come over to our cutting board, and I'm just gonna give them a quick dice, just like that. We'll put our knife to the side, and we're just gonna pick up our tomatoes and just sprinkle them all around. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful colors? This is a lot of tomatoes for one tart, but I like it that way. So that's gonna be your filling. So on your recipe card, I have, you're gonna have 2 tablespoons of dried basil. I normally use dried basil to go on top of the tomatoes because basil and tomatoes are delicious together. But again, since my friend has her garden, I do have sprigs of fresh basil, so that's what I'm gonna be using today. So I'm gonna lay them flat, cut them once down the center first. And then I'm gonna take half of the stack. We're just gonna roll it up. Just like this. And then you'll just very, very thinly as you can get it, watch your fingers, thinly slice it. Have some beautiful curls, just like that. We'll set it off to the side, and we'll go to this one, roll it up, do the same thing. I just roll it because it's easier. You can cut them individually if you want, but it takes a lot more time. So now you have these little strips like this. You can cut them skinnier too. We could have cut them 2 directions if you don't like them this long, but I like big pieces of it. So we're just gonna put that all right on top. Look at that, guys. Y'all getting hungry yet? Okay, so we've got all of that in there. Beautiful color. Okay, so the last step is going to be our cheese. I have a half a cup of the finely shredded blend. You are more than welcome to freshly grate your own cheeses. We're just going to sprinkle that all over this. You can use more cheese if you like, depending on how much you like. Depending on my day will depend on how much cheese I'm going to put on my tart. It's beautiful. Just like that. Okay. So now that we have this filled, I'm gonna stick it back in the oven and let it cook for about 10 to 15 minutes. I'm gonna wash my hands and then we'll take it out and see what it looks like. Time to take our tart out. So, look at this, guys. You can really see the red popping from our fresh tomatoes, and the basil smells incredible. You can cut it into as many slices as you like. I will probably cut it into about 6. We'll serve it up for you guys to try. Alrighty guys, so here is the final dish I'm going to show you how to make. So to complete your delicious meal that we've already shown you with the tart and the Mississippi pot roast and our 2 sides, we are going to do dessert. This is probably the dish that I was most excited about sharing with you all. This is our Ghirardelli double chocolate brownies. The reason I'm using this particular mix is because it was my grand's all-time favorite. This particular recipe holds a lot of memories for me. I remember staying the night with her, and at 2 or 3 in the morning, she would be making brownies, and I could smell it, and it would wake me up in the bedroom. So this recipe holds a lot of memories for me. I'm even using her mixing bowl to make it. So all I'm going to do is prepare the mix as directed on the back of the box, and then once the brownies have about 5 minutes left on them, we're going to take them out of the oven, and then I'm going to show you how she edited them to make some magic. Okay guys, so I have the oven preheated to 325 degrees as directed on our box mix. I've mixed up our brownies and poured them into this pan, which was also my grand's. I sprayed some non-stick cooking spray on it, that way it'll be easier to take our brownies out when they're done. The back of the box says to put them in there for 43 to 48 minutes because I want them to still be a little undone on top for us to put our topping on. I'm gonna do 43 minutes at 325, and then when I take them out a little early, I'll show you how to make that topping. So I have taken our brownies out with about 5 minutes left on the timer. That way we can add my grand's topping. So I have hand crushed 4 sheets of graham crackers. So I'm just going to sprinkle those on top. I have on your recipe card that you can mix these in a bowl. Sometimes I just go for it. We're just gonna sprinkle and go. Okay, so we've got all our graham crackers evenly distributed. Now I'm going to place our marshmallows on it. You can use mini marshmallows if you want to. I like these because it reminds me more of s'mores. And you can use more marshmallows if you want. You can make them touch, anything like that. That's just how many I'm gonna do. And then I have our melted butter here. I'm just gonna pour it over the top. This just kind of helps everything stick together. Goodness, that smells good. Just pour it all over the top. And this was our half a stick of butter melted. Okay, so now that the butter's on top, I'm gonna stick it back in the oven for that last 5 minutes of cook time. And then I'll show you what it looks like when it's all ooey gooey and delicious. Alrighty guys, so we have taken our brownies out of the oven. We put that last 5 minutes on it to really get them golden brown. I did turn on our broil for about 2 minutes, and that's how we got this beautiful caramel brown color. So this is my grand's famous s'mores brownies. Alrighty, so it has now been 6 hours and we have had our Mississippi pot roast on high. So I am going to take the lid off and take out our pepperoni peppers and shred our roast. All I'm going to do is take my tongs right here, and I have a little ramekin, and I'm going to take the pepperoni peppers out. I like to shake off as much juice as I can. Perfect. And then this will just shred apart with our tongs. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? So I'm just gonna keep shredding, and then I will portion this out to serve to our audience members. Thank you guys again for being here today. I've been able to show you how to make some delicious dishes for you and your family. Today you should walk away with the knowledge of a few simple dishes that you can make in a short amount of time. I hope that this has given you some confidence in the kitchen to where you can prepare these dishes on your own in the future. Please let me know if you have any questions about anything we've made here today. Feel free to reach out to me for more recipes or for assistance when you attempt to make these dishes on your own. So until next time, this is Kendra showing you Grand Southern Comfort Cooking.